Hello everyone, this is Miss Wills again, and this is just the second part of the lesson on planning a response for the Mr. Berlin essay question. Now, where we finished off in the last clip was looking at social and historical context, and I asked you to try and complete this sentence for me with your ideas. So just going through potential ideas that you might have written down for this is obviously we've got here that Mr. Berlin is business owner, and business owners like Mr. Berlin during the period of time that the play was set, of course, they were very much seen as quite exploitative of the lower class, of having these capitalist views where they were kind of all about profit, and of course, which could be viewed as very much self-centered. So we've got a business owner like Mr. Berlin who exploited the working class, especially with Eva Smith, which possibly reflected what was going on around the time as well. You could also link this with ideas of older generation versus younger generation as a key theme in the play, where we've got Mr. Berlin really not listening to the younger generation who are challenging his very old-fashioned capitalist views. So we have this idea of perhaps the old generation are being associated with ignorance and being stuck in their ways. So they're kind of ideas that you might have explored in this box here. Okay, so finally, the final thing we look at when you're writing an essay question, or something you've really got to have in your mind all the way through your response, is that this play is a construct. So Priestley created these characters. They aren't real characters. Priestley put them on stage. He created this story in a certain way to convey a meaning, specific meanings, and a message to the audience. Now, I'd just like you to remind yourself about what kind of messages Priestley is trying to convey and get across to the audience there. And I would like you to try and finish this sentence, please. So it says, perhaps Priestley wants his audience to feel animosity towards Mr. Berlin at this point in the play because. Now, think about Priestley, his values, and what he's perhaps trying to encourage an audience to challenge as well. So I would like you to pause this clip and to give that a go for me. Okay, hopefully you've managed to get your ideas down, and you may have ideas that kind of coincide with the following. So this idea that Priestley very much upheld the views of socialism, and he very much loved this idea of there being equality in society, everyone working together, and he saw that capitalist views, much like Mr. Berlin, was actually quite dangerous to society, and that it was these kind of views that disallowed this sense of equality and humanity working together. So by putting a character like Mr. Berlin on stage, who is portrayed to be the antagonist, and to have an audience feel animosity towards his character, perhaps what he's hoping for there is for an audience to also see what he symbolizes and challenge that way of living, that way of life, and of course, capitalist ideals. So that would be his purpose there. You may have had something along those lines down. Okay, guys, so we've been through how to kind of plan each paragraph, what you need to have in each paragraph after you've put your point down. What you now have in your grid is you have 3 other points that I would like you to complete this plan for, and you also have page numbers here as well. All I would like you to do is to do exactly what we've done with this one up here, and I'd like you to follow those steps for each paragraph. Now, the only one that is different on here is this bottom one. So you will see that each of these points kind of discusses the progression or lack of progression Mr. Berlin makes throughout the play. So we have the point here about when he's presented as a man who only looks out for himself and his family. He ignores the social duty of others, when he talks about his capitalist beliefs, and then we have when he's interrogated, and finally the end of the play. Now you will see here this isn't complete, this point. It is at the end of the play, and then that's for you to complete it. So I would like you for this one to write a clear point about how Miss Berlin is presented at the end of the play. Bear in mind, has there been much change in his character? Do you believe his character has changed at all? Or has he not changed? That's the kind of thing I would like you to think about there. And of course, support with your point, with your quotations, analyze, and then discuss the social historical context and his purpose. Okay, guys, that was a lot to go through in one lesson, and it is quite tricky and challenging stuff. So thank you very much for listening and giving it a go. If you do find anything really challenging and you do have questions, please email your teacher. Okay, so all I'd like you to do is to complete this grid for me for your next lesson, because we will need to use it for the next lesson when you come to writing a response to this. Thank you very much for listening.